welcome back to the channel. Racer X here, and today is a pretty exciting day. It's kind of a day that a lot of folks have been waiting for. I'm actually on my way to Gearheads Performance, and for those of you that have been following the build on my Mustang, obviously now this car has been twin turboed. I've had the car now for like 5 or 6 days. I've been swapping files back and forth with Palm Beach Dyno, doing the street testing. Well, today this car is actually going to get on the rollers, and we're going to see what kind of power this thing actually makes, and we'll get some different kind of pulls in, obviously different boost levels and things like that, all the way up to about 10 pounds, which is where I feel comfortable sort of leaving the car without upgrading the transmission and the engine. But it's going to be really interesting to see what this thing can actually do on the roller, so it should be a lot of fun. Guys, if you are new to my channel, do me a big gigantic favor. Please hit subscribe for me. I've got tons of great content coming up for you this year. Also hit that notification bell, and here we go. All right, as you can see, I have finally arrived here at Gearheads Performance in Mansfield, so I'm going to go ahead and head on into the shop here, and we're probably going to get this bad boy up on the rollers here in just a few minutes. We'll let the car cool down. We'll go catch up with Travis and the guys, and then get her pulled around and see what it really does. Now, as you can see, Travis is actually getting the dyno space ready to go over here, so he's kind of working his magic, getting everything rocking and rolling. We got our man Matt over here. Matt's the man who installed the twin turbo kit on the car. How's it going, brother?
Oh, not bad. How you doing?
Yeah, man, the car's running great, so I just want to tell you how much I appreciate it, man, and I think we're both kind of eager to see what it throws down today.
Oh man, I can't wait. It's gonna be. I'm really curious.
Yeah, I'm curious too. What do you think it's going to do? You know the setup, obviously. You did the work. This is the $100 million question.
For sure, I'd like to see over 8.
You over 8? Wow, you're very optimistic.
At least close to it.
Wow, and you know it's 90 degrees outside. That's asking a lot, but I mean,
how much boost do we have?
10 pounds is what we're going to run max. So we'll probably run a few pulls at maybe 6, and then we'll ramp it up from there, but no more than 10.
I'd say about 7.
7? 7-ish.
7.
So you jump from 8 to 7.
Well, hey, once you get to the 15 and 16 pounds of boost, then it starts really ramping up high.
Yeah, it does. It does. It does. Well, we're going to find out here in just a minute, man, so I appreciate it, buddy. All right, as you can see, they did get the car pulled around, actually getting the thing strapped down to the dyno right now. I think Luis is actually back here doing his best to kind of get this thing strapped down so it won't go anywhere. So obviously, next thing we'll get in here. We still got to get the boost controller configured on this thing so that we can actually turn up the boost. But it's exciting seeing the car actually ready to rock and roll. All right, now as you can see, the car is running behind me. Travis is actually trying to get everything sort of up and running in the car, getting the laptop all ready to go. You can see he's getting the screen ready to go right over here. So the first pull is actually going to be just the way it was set up before. It's going to be on that like 6.5 pound spring that comes from Hellion. That's just to kind of keep everything safe and just normal till we can get that boost gauge configured. So he's going to be working through the process of configuring the boost gauge, but we're going to see what it makes. Just as I've been running around on the car really for the last week, I'm just interested to see that number before we actually turn it up. So we'll get this first pull in, get some kind of baseline type numbers, and we'll go from there. Also, a couple other quick qualifiers. We're using SAE numbers, not STD numbers. STD numbers tend to read a little bit higher, and these pulls are being made on a dyno jet, just for reference. So we know a Mustang dyno reads pretty much a lot lower, obviously load-based dyno. Standard dyno jet numbers here, like I said, SAE, correction factor, it's like 92 degrees out and really, really soupy. But the car, I think, is still going to do well. So let's start off with this first pull, see how it goes. All right, guys, there is the verdict. That was on spring. 6.3 pounds of boost is what it made. As you can see right here, 668. And over here, you've got 542 pound-feet of torque. Like I said, that is really just on spring. So that's just where we're starting at, 668. Pretty solid for the numbers on the initial run here. Now, one other quick item of note, take a look at the curve of this. Look how smooth. I can't believe how smooth the power comes on in this car. And it makes power. Look at this right here. It makes power all the way up And you can see right there, basically at 7,300 RPM, somewhere around there, the car is still making power. And it's just extremely impressed with how smooth the power comes on in this car. So there you go, 706 that time, 574 pound-feet of torque, and you can see we did make right at 7.5 pounds on that. Pretty impressive. So we picked up like 37 horsepower with 1.2 pounds of boost. So pretty solid there. All right, guys, take a look at what we just did. 791 at 622 pound-feet of torque. You can see it right here, 9.5 pounds of boost. That's with no additional revisions from Palm Beach Dyno. It is throwing down some power right now. So there you go. That was really, really impressive. You saw basically 82 horsepower with 2 pounds of boost, almost exactly 2 pounds of boost. The car picked up 82 horsepower, so 41 horsepower per pound of boost. That is really impressive. So 9.5 pounds. I am super impressed. 791. I think we may actually get one more pull in and send the data log off to Palm Beach so they can look at it once again. That's what we've been doing, kind of making sure everything is happy and healthy. Obviously Travis is doing his part as well to look at the data and make sure the car is happy. So we might get just one more in to see what happens. Big pull. There you go. 858, almost 859 horsepower, 669 pound-feet of torque at just 11.3 PSI. There you go, 891, 689 pound-feet of torque at exactly 12.5 PSI stock bottom end. Wow. Well, one more quick look at this dyno, obviously without the power numbers directly in front of you. Really the biggest thing I want to show you is just how smooth the graph is. Here's all the pulls, obviously all the way up to 891 at the very top here. But I mean, you can just see we progressively worked our way up, and you can see just every time we did a pull with a little more boost on up, it went all the way up to almost 900 horsepower at 12.5 PSI. But the thing is, when you look at a graph that's this smooth, you realize that the car is putting down power in a very smooth fashion, which means when you're driving it on the street, it's controllable power, which makes a car really fast, and I absolutely love that. So here is one of the greatest things about this turbo setup, and really one of the main reasons I wanted to go twin turbo over supercharged on this build. Let me kind of show you what's going on here. So as you can see, this is the boost gauge, the electronic boost gauge, with I mean just a fantastic thing to have on a turbo setup. And let me show you why. So Travis has already gone in here and he has configured this boost gauge at different boost settings. So for example, right now it is on the default setting, which is where the spring was, kind of where I was driving it before, somewhere around 6 pounds. So we know that that makes somewhere around 650 horsepower. But as we go ahead and we turn this up, just right here, you can see there's setting 2. Now all of a sudden we're running somewhere around 9.5 pounds, which as we saw was more like 750 horsepower to the wheel. We can actually go the next setting to setting 3. As we saw, that one was more like 850 or just above 850 or 11.5 psi. And then we can jump up to 12.5 psi. Boom, right there. Now, I will probably never use that setting, guys. It's there. Chances are I probably won't use this setting that much either. So it's time to take this thing down the road. Like I said, now I can go ahead and turn up the boost on it. We'll let it go on setting 2 just to see how the thing behaves. Like I said, this is about 9.5 pounds of boost. We saw it dyno at over 750 wheel horsepower. So we're talking over 100 horsepower with just the push of a button. And boom, we can go up again. There's another 80 horsepower. We can go up again. There's another 50. It's just amazing how cool this electronic boost controller is. So a couple of really impressive things to really just ponder for a moment, because we've become so spoiled with numbers. And I think, you know, you watch the internet and you think about all this crazy stuff, these guys, crazy numbers, and oh, I made, you know, umpteen billion horsepower and all this kind of stuff. But here's the reality. This is a stock Mustang GT engine in this, a stock Mustang GT transmission, a 10-speed. And these cars typically dyno on that particular dyno somewhere just over 400 horsepower to the tire. So we'll call it 410. This car, at only 12.5 pounds of boost, threw down almost 900 horsepower. And the more staggering thing is, these turbos on this can flow like 26, 28 pounds easily. So they're not even halfway to being maxed out in terms of just how much air they can flow. So think about that in terms of power. Now, I do want to take just a quick second and give a huge shout out to the guys, obviously, over at Hellion. They are just amazing from a customer service perspective, really all the way around. The guys at Hellion have been fantastic, and they assured me that this kit would absolutely not disappoint me, and I have not been disappointed in the least. But certainly another shout out goes out to my guys down there at Gearheads in Mansfield. Obviously, with the install, took a little bit of time to kind of get it just right, but they did a fantastic job. And obviously, Travis, the owner there, helping with the dynoing and getting the car really dialed in. And then, of course, the guys at Palm Beach Dyno as well, because those guys know these twin turbo cars inside and out, and they really know how to get your tune dialed in. They know what these cars like and don't like, how much boost they can really run safely and not. And I mean, they just had a lot of experience with it. So a huge shout out to Palm Beach Dyno as well. So I think I might just go ahead and hit this. I'm going to turn this on up to boost level 2, which, as we know, is about 9.5 pounds, somewhere around 700, a little over 750 wheel horsepower, and we'll see how this thing behaves different. All right, so I got to admit, the first, oh wow, okay, so this builds boost way faster than it did at like 6 pounds. I don't know, it's you wouldn't think 3 pounds or whatever would make that big of a difference, but it seems to, because the car is building boost way faster. It really gets up on boost quick. Just listen to it. Oh wow, okay, yeah, it builds boost way faster. So let's go ahead. I got a nice open stretch of road in front of me. I'm gonna go ahead and let it rip once and just see what happens. Let's go. Now, before we actually end this video, I just want to address something really quick, because many of you have been reaching out to me via different social media avenues and asking, hey, listen, Racer X, how can I get a Hellion kit for myself? Do they even make a Hellion kit for my car? Well, they probably do, chances are, because not only do they make kits for the Mustang, but they make kits for certainly the Camaros, both the SS and the ZL1, the Corvettes out there. They also have kits for the Mopar guys out there, both naturally aspirated, the 5.7s, the 6.4s, and even the Hellcats. They have compound boost kits out there as well. So a lot of different kits that Hellion makes, and they're all absolutely fantastic. And I work with those guys, and they allowed me to give you guys a very special discount code. I don't know how long they're going to honor this, but at least for right now, you can give them my special discount code. It's RacerX21. I will go ahead and put Hellion's phone number, boom, right up here. Their customer service is absolutely fantastic. And if you really want one of the most efficient power systems in the world for your ride, now's the time to do it. Use the RacerX promo code that I just mentioned to you. Tell them RacerX sent you, and get all the power that your ride really deserves.